When I started late to the party, I knew it was only a matter of time until I had to talk about a certain show. A show that, despite being cancelled long ago, has managed to amass a loyal fan base, the likes of which have almost never been seen again. It's time to head out to the black because today we're talking the one season wonder that is Firefly.
Created by Buffy mastermind Joss Whedon, Firefly is a space western, a popular subgenre of science fiction that seeks to transpose themes of the American West to the backdrop of the futuristic space frontier. The show only ran from September 20th to December 20th, 2002 on the Fox network. The name Firefly comes from the main character's ship, the Serenity, a Firefly-class vessel. The crew of colorful space cowboys and cowgirls that make up the Serenity are Captain Mal Reynolds, played by Nathan Fillion, an ex-military man turned outlaw.
Well, look at this! Here's the guy there just in the nick of time! What does that make us? Big damn heroes, sir! Think we got...
Zoe, Mal's war buddy and the second-in-command aboard the Serenity.
First rule of battle, little one. Don't ever let them know where you are. Of course, there are other schools of thought.
Alan Tudyk's Wash, the ship's pilot, Zoe's husband, and the show's go-to comedy relief.
That sounds like something out of science fiction.
We live in a spaceship, dear.
So?
Jane Cobb, my own personal favorite character, who starts off being nothing more than dumb muscle, but it's soon revealed he has a lot more going on in his head than you might think.
Not as deceiving as a low-down, dirty deceiver.
Well said. Wasn't that well said, Zoe?
Add a kind of poetry to it, sir.
Rounding out the crew, we have Kaylee, the ship's sunny mechanic, Shepherd Book, a holy man with a dark past, siblings Simon and River, a doctor and damaged super genius on the run from the Blue Sun Corporation. And of course, it wouldn't be a western without a prostitute, and Nara just so happens to be one that rents a pod aboard the Serenity. Actually, Inara's official title is a companion. They're more like geishas than prostitutes. Companions are a perfect example of the culture clash that informs so much of the show. You see, the way it's set up, only America and China are able to colonize space, so the world of Firefly is a mashup of Chinese and American culture. This extends to everything from the clothes the characters wear to the food they eat, and my personal favorite, the swearing.
What the chain of command is? It's a chain I go get and beat you with till you understand who's in command.
The ruling force in the Firefly universe is the Alliance, and despite the friendly-sounding name, these guys are kinda dicks, with a nasty habit of dropping hapless settlers on harsh worlds, with nothing more than a hatchet and expecting them to colonize the planet. You know, that and make it pretty for when company comes over. Doing things this way obviously led to a civil war between themselves and a group of independent planets from the Outer Rim who wanted to, remain independent. Eventually, the Alliance proved victorious, but some of the rebels, like Mal, still hold on to the idea of freedom. That's what led him to buying the Serenity in the first place, even though it's kind of a beat-up, out-of-date pile of crap. It wouldn't be an awesome cult show if it didn't have an awesome theme song. All the show's music has a cool western twang to it, but I especially like the theme. Once you hear it, it's hard not to sing along.
Take me out to the black. Tell 'em I ain't coming back. Burn the land and boil the sea. You can't take the sky from me.
Most episodes have a simple setup, with the crew either having to protect someone, steal something, or even just get from A to B without dying. Most of the time the crew ends up getting themselves into trouble, and Joss Whedon being a master of writing mismatched groups of people, the crew butts heads before eventually getting out of trouble. Firefly is the kind of show where the devil really is in the details. It doesn't even give you the origins of most of the characters until halfway through the show's run. The other interesting thing about Firefly is, despite being a sci-fi series set in space, there are no actual aliens. Oh, we still get harsh planets filled with harsh and dangerous creatures. It's just that those creatures are human, which only serves to make them even scarier and even more alien than they would be if they were just little green men. Beyond that, the show aims to explore themes of freedom, individuality, loyalty, and greed, as well as finding one's place in the universe. So with all this great stuff going for it, you're probably asking, why did the show only last one season? Well, the Fox network is a pretty good place to start. Fox managed to not only delay airings of Firefly, but also play the show out of order. And yet, with all that, they still had the balls to put the show in a clip package for how awesome Fox was as a leading name in science fiction television. I guess what I'm trying to say is Firefly really was a show ahead of its time. Had it been made today in the era of Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad, I'm almost certain with its blend of action, comedy, and character development, it would never have been canceled. If nothing else, the series has managed to spawn the Browncoats, some of the most loyal fans in all of fandom, who still to this day try to spread the show's gospel and get it brought back. And while it's always going to be a hard sell to try and get people to watch a canceled show, let alone a canceled show that only lasted one season, for what it's worth, Firefly really held up to the hype, and I enjoyed myself immensely. If nothing else, I'll be able to get a ton more jokes and references that I never did before. Oh, wait, that's right, they made a movie too. It's pretty good, it does a nice job continuing the series, has some good twists and turns, and it sure was nice to see the Serenity rendered in expensive-looking CG. The movie also sheds some more light on the Reavers, a group of wild men gone mad on the edges of space. It's definitely a fan movie, so watch the show before watching the movie. I don't think you'll be disappointed. So, until it's time for me to pull my next job, I'm the DVD Grouch. I was late to the party, but now I'm glad to be here.
The man they call James. He robbed from the rich and he gave to the poor. Stood up to the man and he gave him what for. Our love